Hello and welcome to my channel Easy English for Class 12. Today we will take up lesson 1 from the book Vistas, and the name of the lesson is The Third Level by Jack Finney. Jack Finney was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. His best known works are science fiction and thrillers. Two of his novels, The Body Snatchers and Good Neighbor Sam, became the basis of popular films. Some of his other popular works are About Time, The Clock of Time, Time and Again, From Time to Time. As the names suggest, we can clearly see Jack Finney's fascination with time and sci-fi stories. Our story, The Third Level, is an interesting sci-fi story. Now, what is a sci-fi story? Sci-fi means a science fiction, a genre that typically deals with imaginative and futuristic concepts such as advanced science and technology, space exploration, time travel, parallel universes, and extraterrestrial life. The content is imaginative but based on science. It relies heavily on scientific facts, theories, and principles as support for its settings, characters, themes, and plot lines, which is what makes it different from fantasy. I'm sure you must have seen many sci-fi movies. The very famous ones are Avengers, Men in Black, Avatar. Well, our story here, The Third Level, explores the science fiction genre of time travel. Jack Finney, the recipient of the World Fantasy Award, interweaves fantasy with the reality in the most futuristic projection of time travel. Let's have a quick look at the vocabulary. First word, philately. Philately is collection and study of postal stamps. Some people have this hobby of collecting the stamps. Second word is escapism. Our theme for the story is mainly escapism. Escapism is a tendency to seek distraction and relief from unpleasant realities, especially by seeking entertainment or engaging in fantasy. Gabardine suit, a long loose upper garment worn by Jews. Glint, I'm sure all of you know that. It's something that shines brightly with a short flash of light. Derby hat is a felt hat that is round and hard with a narrow brim, also called bowler hat or plug hat. Next expression is first day cover. Now this refers to the postal stamps. The first day issue postage stamp on a cover or postcard or maybe a stamped envelope. Generally, the cover is empty. It doesn't contain anything. And the last one, a waking dream wish fulfillment. Well, it is a term used by many psychologists or dream analyzers, and it is what we wish to happen or see, but not necessarily the reality. The story, The Third Level, is all about Grand Central Terminal and third level on it. Let's just have a look at the pictures. It's really grand. It's one of the famous landmarks in New York. Now, Grand Central Terminal, also referred to as Grand Central Station or simply as Grand Central, is located at 42nd Street and Park Avenue in Middletown, Manhattan, New York City. Its distinctive architecture and interior design have earned it several landmark designations. It covers 48 acres and has 44 platforms, more than any other railroad station in the world. Its platforms, all below ground, serve 30 tracks on upper level and 26 on the lower. Now, if we have a look here, upper level and the lower level. Now, the information retrieved from Wikipedia or other sources tells us there are only 2 levels at the Grand Central Terminal. However, the author here, he professes that he has seen or he has been to the third level. Yes, we'll be talking about the third level at Grand Central terminal. The third level is a story about a 31-year-old man named Charlie. Third level refers to an additional floor at the Grand Central Station which originally had only 2 levels. Life in modern world is full of uncertainties, worries and stress. It takes Charlie, the main protagonist, to a different world that his friend also calls a waking dream wish fulfillment. The third level was a way of escape for Charlie. It is a psychological story in which the subway at third level of the Grand Central Station becomes the interconnection between the narrator's harsh reality and fantasy and shows the connection between time and space. The fears, anxieties, and insecurities of the modern world are taking a toll on man's mind. Charlie feels helpless and frustrated and seeks temporary respite from life's harsh realities. He was unable to cope up with his fast-paced and stressful life, so his flight to the third level was undoubtedly a medium of escape for him. It is nothing but a creation of Charlie's own mind. He wants to escape from the modern world's insecurity, fear, worries, and stress, and so seeks an exit, a medium to get away into the world of dreams and fancies. Now, I'd like to discuss the story in short. I'll go a bit fast here. Charlie was 31 years old man married to Louisa. Several times he had lost himself in the Grand Central Station. He always found himself bumping into new doorways and new corridors. Every time he had a new experience. He even had begun to believe that the Grand Central was like a huge tree, ever pushing new tunnels and new corridors like the roots under the ground. So we come to know about two main characters here, Charlie and his wife, Louisa. And we get to know about this Grand Central Station, which is really huge and most baffling. So much so that every time Charlie is going there, he is having a new experience. And he thought it was like a huge tree ever pushing new tunnels and new corridors like roots under the ground. Once he got into a mile-long tunnel and came out in the lobby of a hotel. At another time, he came up into the building of an office. There were certainly only 2 levels at the Grand Central. So physically, there are only 2 levels, upper level and lower level at the Grand Central. But Charlie asserted that there were 3 levels. Now, this is the third level that we are talking about. He talked about it to his friends. One of them was a psychiatrist. The psychiatrist said that it was nothing but daydreaming. He explained that it was only an escape from his present life. The modern world was full of fear, tension, and worries. The third level provided him an exit from it. His other friends agreed with the psychiatrist. So basically, the psychiatrist was of the view that since Charlie was unhappy in his life and unhappy because of, the stress, the trials and tribulations of the regular life. So that's why he is looking into some kind of escapism when he talks that he has seen the third level. So his friends agreed with the psychiatrist. They said that his stamp collecting was also a temporary escape. Charlie did not agree with them. He said that his grandfather started the stamp collection, and in his grandfather's days, life was peaceful and he did not need an escape. Besides, President Roosevelt also collected stamps. Now here we get to have an insight into his mind that Charlie does feel that his grandfather's time was a peaceful time, and back then they did not need any escape, and stamp collection was simply a hobby. Well, one day Charlie got late from his office. He wanted to reach home soon, so he went to the Grand Central to catch a train. He walked down to the first level and then walked down another flight of stairs. He thought he had reached the second level again, but he got lost. He walked down a corridor. He thought it was wrong, but he walked on the downward. He walked down a short flight of stairs. He thought that he had reached the second level again, but actually he had reached the third level. Now, how does he know that he had reached the third level? Well, Charlie knew that it was third level because the third level was entirely different and old-fashioned. There were fewer ticket windows. The information booth was made of wood. The lights were open flame gas lights. There were brass spittoons on the floor. Men had beards and sideburns. Women wore old-fashioned dresses and high-buttoned shoes. The railway engine was small with a funnel-shaped stack. Everything looked a century old. Now, since everything looked so old and so from another era, he wanted to confirm. So what did he do? He walked to the newsboy. There he glanced at the World. This is name of a newspaper which was published during that time. The lead story was about President Cleveland. Later, Charlie found out from the library files that it was printed on June 11, 1894. So this is the proof that he had traveled in the time and he had traveled to the year 1894. And to confirm whether he had really traveled or he was just hallucinating the things, he took a glance at the newspaper, The World. Now, Charlie wanted to go to Galesburg. He had been there in his childhood days. It was a wonderful town with tremendous trees and frame houses. In 1894, it was a heaven of peace and tranquility. People lived a carefree life, so he asked for 2 tickets to Galesburg. He paid the fare in modern notes, which were different from those in 1894. So even though he has traveled to 1894, he is carrying the money which is used in the present day. And it was his desire to go to Galesburg, where he had been there in his childhood days. And he thinks that it was a wonderful town with, all the trees and houses, and it was full of peace and tranquility and things like that. So he wanted to buy 2 tickets, one for himself and one for his wife. However, he had only present day money with him. The clerk thought the notes were fake and Charlie was trying to cheat him. He threatened to get him arrested. Charlie immediately turned around and fled as fast as he could. So that was his stance at the third level. Next day, Charlie bought old-style notes from a coin dealer. He got only 200 old dollars for 300 new dollars. But he could never again find the corridor that led to the third level. So basically, Charlie was so desirous of, escaping into that other world, going to this place called Galesburg, or visiting this third level again, that he tries really hard. He exchanges the notes, from the coin dealer, even though he gets 200 old dollars for 300 new dollars, but he is willing to take that chance. But he could never again find the corridor that led to the third level. Charlie's wife was worried when she heard that he had bought old-style notes. So Charlie turned to his stamp collection. One day, among his grandfather's collection of first-day covers, he discovered an envelope. The postmark showed that it had been there since July 18, 1894. He opened the envelope. Here, when we were discussing in the vocabulary the first-day covers, I had told you that these were empty envelopes. But however, here when he opened the envelope, the paper inside was not blank. It was a letter from Sam, the psychiatrist friend whom Charlie had often told about Galesburg. He had already gone there. He urged Charlie to continue to look for the third level and joined him in Galesburg of 1894. It was a wonderful place. Later, Charlie learned that Sam had bought $800 worth of old currency. Charlie hoped Sam would have set up hay and feed business in Galesburg, and that was what he had always wished to do. So Charlie basically visits this third level once, and Sam is supposedly already transported to another time and space through this third level, and he has even written a letter from there, which is dated 18 July 1894. So that was the story in short. Now let's understand the theme and aspects of the story. The third level is a story that weaves together a psychological journey of the narrator into past, present, and moves towards future. So basically, it's all about time travel. Man is mortal and has many good and bad aspects of life like love, profit, loss, good, bad, etc. All these aspects tend to affect the human mind. The existential worries make the human mind constantly move between the past, the present, and the future. The third level refers to the subway of the Grand Central Station that takes passengers to Galesburg, Illinois. Physically, there are only two levels. There does not exist any third level at Grand Central. The writer Jack Finney uses the third level on Grand Central Station as a medium of escape from the harsh realities of modern life. To quote from the book, from the lesson, the modern world is full of insecurity, fear, war, and worries. When people in the present time want to escape the problems and stress of life, they feel that life 50 or 60 years ago was relaxed and they wanted to go back to that time for peace and happiness. It signifies an escape from the modern world that is full of insecurity, fear, war, worry, and all the rest of it. The period of 1890s represent a peaceful life not possible in the present era. The story dwells on the theme of escapism, not only as a psychological refuge from grim realities of present-day life, but also as a desire to stay in the past and keep it alive in the complexities of present. Not only Charlie expresses a desire to escape, but also prepares and tries very hard. A desire which is not contested by his wife, Louisa, either. Sam, the psychiatrist friend, is also happily escaped with no plans to resort to his old profession. The irony being that Sam himself tells about the third level through his letter, while as a psychiatrist he had not believed Charlie and called it waking dream wish fulfillment. So we see all three characters have this escapist tendency. And the theme of escapism prevails in the lesson. Talking about the title, since the chapter deals with the third level at the Grand Central Station, New York, the title Third Level is perfect for the story. Third level deals with the subject of weakness, dread, and war. The storyteller appears to be stressed. He wishes to be transported to the third level, the world of 1894, which is supposedly happier and quieter place. The question whether third level really exists or it is there in Charlie's mind can only be inferred from Sam's letter. A picture of it is given here and it is there also there in your textbooks. You can just go through that. Now let's talk about the characters. Character sketches are very important in all the lessons. Here we have three main characters, Louisa, Charlie, and Sam. We'll discuss these characters one by one. Charlie. Charlie is the main protagonist of the story. He is a 31-year-old man and he is a true representative of a modern man. He's a victim of stress, insecurity, and fear and wants to run away from reality. He is an escapist and wants to escape from the world of harsh realities. He is fond of stamp collection. It is his hobby, which he takes up to make his leisure hours more productive and fulfilling experience. But his psychiatrist friend calls it a temporary refuge from reality. He yearns to lead a good simple life of his grandfather's time when things were pretty nice and peaceful. He quests for the fabulous ordinariness of a bygone age that was free from modern razzle dazzle, sophistication, and material comforts, but exudes peace and tranquility. He wants to go to Galesburg, Illinois, in the year 1894, when the First World War was 20 years off and the Second World War still 40 years ahead. He is an imaginative person. Hence, on the wings of his imagination, he takes a flight to the non-existent world, the third level at Central Station. But after finding it once, he and his wife fail to find it again. In short, Charlie is the true representative of the modern man who is torn between the pulls and pressures of a hectic modern life and wants to escape since he is not happy. Louisa. Louisa is Charlie's wife. She is loving and caring towards her husband. However, she is a simple lady and it is not difficult to take her in. She refuses to accept the psychiatrist's observation that her husband is unhappy. She takes this comment as a personal attack and feels kind of mad. On being told that the modern world is full of insecurity, fear, etc., she feels satisfied with the psychiatrist's explanation. When Charlie talks to her about his predicament regarding the third level, she gets alarmed and advises him not to look for the third level anymore. Her husband's exchanging the new currency with the old one is a cause of concern for her, and she tells Charlie emphatically to stop looking for it. When Charlie tells her about Sam's disappearance, she joins him in looking for the third level every weekend. Sam. Sam is a psychiatrist by profession. He is a typical city boy. When Charlie shares his visiting the third level, he tells him that it is a waking dream wish fulfillment. He tells him that he is looking for ways to escape since he is not happy. But he immediately revises his statement that Charlie is a victim of insecurities of modern life. He dubs the argument of narrator's hobby of stamp collection as a temporary refuge from reality. He does not believe in mixing up his profession with his friendship. He gets fascinated by Charlie's description of Galesburg, Illinois, as a wonderful town with big old frame houses, huge lawns, tremendous trees lining the streets. He is also affected by the pulls and pressures of modern life and he thinks of escaping to the peaceful world of Galesburg of 1894. In the end, he discovers the third level of Grand Central and goes there. He writes a letter from there advising Charlie and Louisa to keep finding the third level because it is worth. According to Charlie, Sam must have set up his little hay feed and grain businesses as he can't go back to his old business as psychiatrists are redundant in Galesburg of 1894. So those were characters discussed briefly. Now we have a list of frequently asked questions. Now I would request you to go through these questions at your own convenience and see if you can answer them, even though answers are there, but you try and answer them yourself. I hope you understood the explanation. If you have any doubts or queries, please feel free to write a comment in the comment box and I will get back to you. Well, thank you for watching. Please like, share and subscribe. Thank you and have a nice day.